All right, so today I am making 1 pound bowls, also known as rice bowls when I sell them, although they're really good for cereal and ice cream. They're these nice little bowls that stack. I'll show a picture of them at the end of the video. They stack really nicely and they're just a really great size. I like them for soup and everything. I like to have my soup in a taller bowl as opposed to one of the wide bowls, just because I feel like in the wide bowls the soup cools off too quickly. But anyway, so 1 pound bowls made out of 1 pound of clay. And I want to start with a little shout out to the Clay Art Center in Tacoma. This is their clay, Oregon Brown, which I love, love, love. The only thing I don't love about it is it stains the heck out of my hands. It's super nice to work with, and it just is gorgeous with all the glazes that I've chosen are just amazing on this clay. And I'm also using this bat system that I get from Clay Art Center. Basically everything I get is from Clay Art Center. They're just really nice folks over there. They're super helpful. They've helped me over the years with kiln questions, glaze questions, bisque firing questions, everything. They're just really nice people. I like them a lot. All right, so I started by centering my ball of clay. And now I am putting the hole in the center. Now these bowls and really most of the things that I make, I don't trim. I keep them flat on the bottom. So when I throw the bottom, I make sure it's not thick, because I don't want to have a really heavy bottomed piece. I want the piece to be well balanced, even though I don't go about trimming it. You may have watched some of my pour over videos. Those I have to trim because they require a fancy bottom. But most other things, you can get away with a nice flat, clean bottom. It's really not a problem. So anyway, okay, so I'm throwing my 1 pound ball of clay here. The dimensions, the finished dimensions of this piece are 3 1/4 inches tall. That's finished throwing, not finished with firing. 3 1/4 inches tall, and the diameter of the top of the piece is 5 3/4 inches wide. All right, so I've just about got this ready to use my, oh no, it's gotta be a little taller than that. I use a Wiziwig Rib to get the shape of these guys. I'll show you in a second. Just gotta get a little more height out of this, because as it widens, as I open the bowl, it gets shorter. So I have to make sure that it's tall enough to start with. So this is my Wiziwig Rib. And I apologize ahead of time for the scrapey noise. It's just terrible, but it does the job. Okay, so that's one pass. Usually takes a couple. I need to slow down a little bit because my bowl's getting thinner, and I don't want it to go out of control on me. But I gotta get this opened up to 5 3/4 at the top, so that takes a couple passes. So now I'm gonna get my ruler out, check and see where I am. The height's good. Let's see where we are in the diameter. Almost. I'm just like 1/8 of an inch off, but I like these right on the button so that they stack nicely. One last little pass ought to do the job. Double check it. Perfect. All right, that's what I like to see. All right, then I get the water out of the bottom, get my handy little plastic piece and round the rim, and it's done. All right, I'm gonna do another one. And I'll talk a little bit more about the procedure. So that was number 7 of 30 today. I usually do these in a big batch because it takes a little time to kind of get on a roll. And once you get on the roll, then they just go faster. So the clay that I'm using is Oregon Brown. I already mentioned that. And I want to point out that I don't wedge my clay. This clay coming from Clay Art Center goes through their pug. I cut it straight out of the bag. Some of these pieces are still in little squares. I just round them into a little ball before I stick them on the bat and go. It's a rare time that I actually wedge my clay. If I'm dealing with 2 pounds or more, I'll wedge it just to kind of loosen up the clay particles a little bit. But for the most part, I just throw right out of the bag. You know, unless I have to, you know, have a situation where I'm reusing clay, in which case then I'll wedge it. But right out of the bag, there's no need. It's smooth as butter. No air, ready to go. Okay, so I'm making my hole, opening up the base. So these bowls have sort of a flat bottom. They're not really a rounded bottom bowl. Again, because I'm not trimming, I want to make sure I don't have a big wedge of clay on the outside of the base. So I throw these with a sort of a flat bottom. Okay, and I'm going to begin raising the wall. And I like to compress at the end of that pull the rim just to get all that excess slip off that's been traveling up the wall as I pull. And do it again. I start to open it up a little bit as I pull in anticipation of making the bowl shape, trying to leave a little bit of excess clay at the rim because that rim's going to stretch out. And you want to have the excess clay up here so that when it stretches open, it doesn't get too thin. Here's another little trick. Instead of dumping a ton of water on my piece as I'm throwing, if I find that I need a little bit of water, I let my left hand ride on the pot and just squeeze a little water in my fingers, and that applies water to the piece itself without getting it all over the place. I really don't enjoy cleaning out my splash pan at the end of the day, so I try and keep it as tidy as possible during throwing. And there's really no need to have a gigantic mess in your pan. I don't know if you can see my pan, but it's pretty clean. Okay, so checking the height. I usually have it aiming for around 3.5 inches before I start to open. Bringing in the Wiziwig Rib again, scratchy, scratchy. Ugh, I hate that noise. And begin to open up the pot. And again, that rim is stretching, so that clay is stretching open like a rubber band, and it gets thinner. So I wanted to make sure I had a little excess up there so that as it stretched, it didn't get too thin. One more. And then we're going to take a measurement and see where we are. 3 1/4, perfect. And I'm about 1/8 of an inch off again. I just don't want to, it's so irritating when I open it up too wide because there's no coming back from that. So it's better to have it a little bit too small than go big, because you go big and you're done. All right, let me just double check this, but it should be right on the button. Oh yeah, okay. Clean out the water at the bottom. Smooth the rim. And we're done. That's number 8. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching that. Thanks so much. And I'll see you again next time. Okay, just one more minute. I promised that I would show the finished product. And I just finished making 10 of the rice bowls, and that's always a good time for a break. There's my bucket of clay yet to become bowls, and my coffee, of course. I like to take a break every 10 pieces just to get up and walk around, stretch my back and my wrists. So here's the finished product. This one is, see how nicely they stack? This one happens to be in B-Mix. See, it's a white clay. They all match anyway. They can all stack together. This glaze is Clay Art Center's Floating Blue. This glaze is Amico Ancient Jasper. That's like the one Amico glaze I use. Everything else is Clay Art Center. This is Clay Art Center Yellow Green and Clay Art Center Allspice. And they just go together so nicely. These colors you can mix and match. In fact, all of my dinner dishes are a combo of these colors on my cups and my plates and everything that I have upstairs. Anywho, thanks again for watching, and I'll post more soon. Bye.